Right, weekend, I don't know, 5, something like that. Car parts direct, whoever they are, or FedEx, one of the two are still line pricks, and there's been no airbags delivered. But airbag team managed to find me one, send me one out. So that's a start. We can at least get the dashboard out, get that changed over. The other issue is that generally when airbags go off, they usually melt the connectors, but not all the time. So there's a good chance I'll get these apart and then have to cut the connectors off and then go and find other connectors. But even though this was actually for a 4.4, the actual bag is the same shape. And let me just... there's the 4.2 dashboard. And if you look at this, it's got... it's got a little tab that end that goes in that end, so you can't put it around the wrong way. Simple as that. And you just put your 4 nuts on it, and then these bolt directly to the cross member underneath the dashboard. And yeah, hopefully this plug isn't melted. So I don't think I've got any spares. I think I cut the last one off. I had a spare wiring loom for a 453 for research purposes only, but I think I might have totally mullered that for the connectors. So we have to start checking connectors, I think. Now it goes without saying, when you're playing around with airbags, because you're fitting new airbags, you ideally need to disconnect the battery. When removing the driver's steering wheel airbag, it helps to be able to push it. Now in the 453, even with the ignition off, when you push that airbag, it will sound the horn, and that will scare the shit out of you. Now in the back of here, there are 2 little marks, one on each side. And you have to stick in something small like a little Allen key and root around. If you push the airbag and start feeling around, at some point there is a little springy bit. And you push that and you can pull the airbag and it will come out of one side. And then you have to repeat on the other side. It's a bit tricky, and until you've done it a load of times, and on the back of here, there's a little connector. It's a blue, red and brown, and you have to lever back the red part, but you do need a tool. The fuck was that noise? Once that red clip's just been pulled back, it pulls out. I'm glad to say that that's not melted. So that's a damn good start. Now, unfortunately, because this is a covered airbag, there's absolutely no way to... you can't buy this cover separately, so you can't rebuild that. But apparently, the non-covered airbags, the ones that hide behind the dashboard, can be repacked. Now, I'm very, very tempted to give that a go. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, it's only an airbag, right? I'm really tempted to try and get the gas, they're called SRS gas generators if you want to Google it. I'm tempted to try and get one for because as long as the bags are generally quite robust, and as long as you know how to repack them and they're not damaged, because the airbags actually have got holes in them to release the pressure, so it builds up really quickly and slowly lets the pressure out as you hit it to dissipate the force. Now, as long as you're quite happy with it, you can repack these. I mean, this one, it's got a little flap that breaks out. With a little bit of work, you can close it and make it look fine. But with the dashboard one, I've been having a little look around, and it does look like a very a very similar part to a lot of other cars. It's just like a little square block. And as long as you get the mounting points in the right place, they all generate about the same amount of pressure. I mean, again, what could possibly go wrong? It's a Chinese product from a Chinese website. But then the people who make the airbags are Takata. And if you do a search on Google for Takata, you'll find millions of websites all about how dangerous Takata airbags are and how many people they've killed, and they explode, and shrapnel and death and carnage and that sort of stuff. I think it's one of the biggest recalls ever in the world, not just for airbags, just for car parts. They had to replace billions of airbags, including a lot of airbags in Mercedes. But for some reason, all the ones in smart cars are just fine. Don't believe that for a fucking second. But until they do a recall, you'll have to live with it. So I can only assume that the cheapy ones you get on eBay, on AliExpress and places like that, they can't be much worse than that, can they? Just don't crash. It looks good. As long as they've got the correct resistance, it will turn the airbag lights off. So yeah, just don't crash. So that one's out. That's fine. I'll take a few pictures of that one for the website. Also, actually, if you're in America, your airbag will actually have two connections in it because they've got a dual stage airbag. Depending on how hard the crash is, they're assuming that Americans are big and fat. So they have two pressures depending on how heavy the crash was. Even in European cars and Asian cars, they've actually got the other connector pushed into the steering wheel. It's a green one with a brown back and also a red tab. Not necessarily no ones. We just use the blue with a red and a brown. So yeah, lucky enough that one's fine. I'm going to check the knee airbag one, and then we'll start looking at getting the dashboard out. I might have to get I've got a boroscope. I really want to check to see how bad the connections are, because it is Saturday and smart close about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. So I've got about an hour. So yeah, if I need to order any parts, ideally I need to do it now. All right, check this out. This is the boroscope. What you do is you put your phone in that part and connect it up, turn it on. And this is the lens. That's the small camera. Check this out. Ooh. How freak is that? Now, it doesn't help a fucking bit, because as soon as you get behind the dash, you pull it one way, you don't know which way you're going. You could be anywhere. So it's random as hell. But if you can't put your eyes behind there, it's the best option. To remove the dashboard in a 450, the original Smart, no problem at all. Few bolts pop straight out. Bit of a nightmare to get back in, but no problem. Dashboard in the 451, bit of a ball ache. Then they facelifted it, made a bit more of a ball ache. 453, fucking hell. What a piss about. Now you can't just remove the dashboard. No. Now you've got to remove this speedo. All right, fair enough. And the stereo, bit of a pain. And the glove box, piss take. The heater controller, really taking the piss now. The entire centre console up to the fucking handbrake. Mate, what the fuck are you thinking? Now this is happening quite a lot, you know. How hard is it just to make it a little bit easier? Fucking Renault. So start taking this shit apart. I'm going to do myself a favour and remove one of the seats, just to give it a bit more room, so I can take the photographs for the centre console change as well for the site. evolution.co.uk, go and sign up. And I can't believe it's taken me this long, but all this nonsense is on Patreon, so just search for Evolution, you'll find it. Really should do a better job of trying to sell myself. because all the money I make goes back into the website. These are Torx E12. You just remove the front bolts from the runners, the rear bolts from runners, any electrical connections underneath the seat, mainly for, depending on what area you're from, there's a sensor to tell you if somebody's sitting in the seat. There's the side airbag and also the heated seats. So there can be some connections that need to be undone. Once you've done the front ones, just slide the seat forward and then you can get the back ones. Stop staring at my ass. I said stop. Right, the hard part is actually getting the seat out without scratching everything. Careful, careful. Whoa. Right, it's given us a bit more room. Now what we need to do is remove that center console. Step one. I love fucking around. That apparently just pulls off. T30 for the armrest. And on the other side. Yeah, that still pulls off. You do need a side order of violence when you work on these cars. Whereas all the previous Mercedes designed ones, it was pretty much just all fixings, clips, nuts, bolts, that sort of stuff. And then once you've got them out, fine. But with Renault, they do overkill fixings and then clips as well. So you take them all out and you give it a little move. You think, oh, I don't know, is there another fixing somewhere? And you look everywhere and eventually you get angry with it, pull it off, and it's just another clip. Right, disconnect the cigarette lighter socket. If you've got the non-facelift version without the Bosch stereo, you'll also have another connection for the USB and the SD card nonsense and the 3.5mm aux jack in thingy. But I've got the Bosch updated stereo in this one, so it's just one connection for the cigarette light socket. Right, that's one out. Now I think it's T20. There's, yep, T20. It's one in the top. Yeah, one little one. That's that loose. Now with the facelifted center console, it's everything between there and there. So you have to buy that bit, this top bit, and everything goes around the handbrake as well. You can still reuse that. These are absolute shit. If you're anything more than about 5 foot nothing, your seat is too far back And even with that out of the way, that is in the way, and it's really annoying. I really don't understand the point of armrests. Are your arms really that heavy? Go on a diet. Okay, that's all loose, that's fine. I think to lift this up, we're going to have to take the armrest bracket. If you have got an armrest, you'll have this bracket here, so I'm assuming that'll have to come out as well. 13mm, I think. Come here, you squeaky bastard. Absolute prick. Yeah, there's a fucking nut at the back here as well. Absolute shithole. To save myself from having to remove the entire rear carpet, I'm just going to use a 13mm on an extension. If I can even get on the bloody thing. I'm going in blind. Oh, you offset motherfucker. I don't think it's even 13mm like that. Oh no, it is. It's just a stupid angle. Prick. Prick bracket. Piece of shit. Alright, yeah, pull the top up. Unfortunately, to get this up, you've got to move that. To move that, you've got to turn the key and put the foot on the brake. To do that, you've got to reconnect the battery. It won't shut up now. At least till you disconnect the battery again. All right, there you go. Shut up. Yeah, once you've pulled this back, let me just get you a bit closer. Once you've pulled that back, there's two connections, probably. One for the switch, one for the lighting for the prick red nose day, whatever that means. And then you'll be able to take that bit off. Right, forget that. There was one connector for the switch. The other one, the one up there, isn't a connector. One down there is a connector, but that's really hard to get to. So with this panel, just move this crap out of the way. Oh, I reckon I'll probably drive like that. This panel does just clip in. So if you can unclip it in, then you can push it back through. Then it doesn't even need to be disconnected. Right, now these side bits can just pull off. Just pull off. Now if you've got the non-facelift version, there's a good chance that you're going to have the obviously you'll have the drawer out the side, but it'll also have ambient lighting. So don't pull it off too far, because there's a little connector on the back. If you haven't got ambient lighting, just rip it away. Oh, yeah. Now on this bit we've already released, and this bit that's still bolted down, there are 2 on each side of, I'm assuming, looking at the previous version I've done, are going to be Torx 20s. So once we've released those, we should be able to take this centre part out, even though everything's going to be in the way. So what I'll do is I'll move that forwards and turn the car off, because I'll need a bit of room for that to come up and out to get over this handbrake. All right. The verdict is Torx 20. That's exactly the same length as the other ones we took out back there. I remember there was a short version and a long version of exactly the same bolt, but I just couldn't tell you if that was the short or the long one. Now, it doesn't really matter, because this isn't exactly the place for information. This is just purely entertainment, because let's be honest, you should be working, and you're doing anything except working. I know, because I'm exactly the same. Let's go into the side. Some crap access on this side. Yeah, they're the same length, and they are, in English, 18mm to the point. Right, unless you've got a Torx 20 out of a Christmas cracker and it was only 1 inch long, that's fine, but otherwise you're going to need a pretty short right angled Torx Allen key version. And hopefully, no. See, violence, that's what you need. You just need to put the handbrake on until it's in the boot. And then you get enough room. Okay, we don't need to touch that, that's fine. Now these ribbon cables aren't particularly strong, so be careful. Don't manhandle those. Just getting that out of the way. Okay, from what I can see, again, Torx 20. There's one at the back, one up there, and one at the back on this side. So it looks like there's only 3. But we'll soon find out. Yeah, exactly the same length. And if you want to know what 18mm is in Imperial, then that's your problem, because Imperial is absolute dog shit. Now, us British people, we're quite happy to use both, depending on what you're measuring. But when you're measuring in really tiny distances, who the fuck's using inches? Like 30 seconds? You're joking. Okay, again, 18mm. That was 3, so it's still bolted down somehow. Oh no, there is another one hidden. Aha, not so hidden. Because you can violence that up out the way. And now a word from our sponsors, Raid Shadow Legends. No, not really. Although I've heard that Raid Shadow Legends do pay some horrendous money. only dream of being that big of a YouTube personality that they'd pay me like 20, 30 grand to claim that I play it. I tell you what, if they paid me that money, I would play it. I won't waste my time entertaining you ourselves. Okay, 4 of those out. Come on, come on. Oh, you absolute. Okay. So this main pipe does unclip with an unreasonable force. And the connections, if you've got the update version, then the connections are in the front that would normally be in the back. It's actually a very similar little panel in there. Yeah, a little bit more unreasonable force. Another little bit of panel. Sit there, you prick. Oh, step 1 of 96. If only there was a website. Hang on, there is a website. Evolution, evilution.co.uk. And it will show you how to do this shit. Alright, this is just a decorative panel. It can be violenced. Yeah, nothing's broken. T20 again. Some bolts. Yep, same 18mm. I think Renault must have bought me in bulk and got a job lot. And there's another one off to the side here. Yep, same. Right, you've got to pull back the rubber seal, and then you can violence the end cap off. Disconnect the airbag switch connector. Oh, don't. Get fucked. Okay, now on the side, what have we done with it now? Yes, we've got another Torx 20 there, Torx 20 there. So I'm so limited to the space, I can't even open the door fully. If I could do it that side, I'd be laughing. Okay, now there's more Torx 20s under there. Come on, eyes, don't phone me now. Right, they're all 18mm. Pull that panel off. And underneath it, the side of the glove box, another one. Now we've got more Torx 20s at the top of the heater controller. But these are screws. I'll put them on top of the dashboard, and then in a minute when I take the dashboard off, they'll drop out somewhere and disappear. So I won't put them on top of the dashboard. Right, remind me. In the boot. Okay, then you push the tabs in, fold the heat controller in, and then disconnect it. Now, actually, behind here, Smart called it a SAM unit. It's the SAM M, I think it is, the middle SAM, and there's another SAM unit called the SAM D, which I'm assuming is SAM driver side, obviously left-hand drive. Now, hopefully, yeah. There's all manner of things connected to the back of this. Now, this car actually hasn't even got the ambient lighting, but there are plugs. It wouldn't surprise me if they are actually, yeah, definitely. We've got a hole there, that's one ambient light. We've got one there, that's another ambient light that goes down into your footwell, because that's obviously what you really need. It's the most important thing. You need to be able to see your feet when you're driving. And here we've actually got two connectors. One's there. There's one there. So it looks like it's just plug and play. Right, that's that out of the way. Now we have to get the stereo and the speedo. This is dull already, dull. Right, a little bit of violence. Fascia off. Again, I'm assuming Torx 20. I suppose it'll make it easier to put back together again. I was actually shorter. These ones are only 14mm. Tiny. And there's only actually three holding the stereo in. Right, that's this stereo disconnected. Now this is the Bosch Media touchscreen from the new facelifted version of 453. Stop coveting this stereo. It's not that good. I mean, fuck me. If you buy it with the car, it's about like 500 quid. And that is about 200 quid more expensive than it's actually worth. The screens are right. Yeah, it's got Apple CarPlay on it. That's fine. But if you haven't got that in your car, don't go and get it. It's like 500 quid for the stereo. Then you've got to buy this surround and this back bit. Yeah, that entire surround thing. Then you've got to buy the connection cables from Tech or whatever they're called, and a dongle that, which sometimes doesn't work. And it's just not that good. But if you buy the entire kit from them, it's like 1,200 quid. Oh, for fuck's sake. The Pioneer 62 dab and the 64 dab, and there's another one that I've fitted to another car that'll be on the website as well. So much better, so much cheaper. Like half the price, plugs in, no problem, everything works, even the controls. You'd have to start pissing around with wiring up and under there, and just don't bother with it. Stop wasting my time with it. Right, more Torx 20s, imagine that. You know, if you've got that stereo, don't change it. That's fine, because these connections, you're not going to find anything that fits that anyway. You've got it, fine. That's fine. If you've got the old style R-Link media, piece of shit. You know, replace it. But again, as soon as anyone asks on any of the forums, I want to replace my 453 stereo, everyone always says about the cheap Chinese ones. Oh, they're so shit. Yeah, that was the long one. Long one's down there. Actually, I don't think I need to take that short one out, because I think that just holds the fascia together. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's better than the R-Link you've removed, but it's Android for a start, and it's Chinese. You know, they're all made by the same company and just rebadged. They've got different amounts of RAM in them. You know, they generally sell for like 100 quid, and that's what they're worth. It's like a rat's nest of cables, and they're really not that impressive. There's an Alpine that fits this. I mean, it'll be a good stereo. I've not used it, but Alpine in general are good stereo makers. But the fitting kit is about the same price as the stereo. It's just not worth it. I mean, I think the whole thing costs about like 1,200 quid. Again, no chance. Radio surround out. I mean, just look at the fucking mess up just to get this fucking dashboard out. This silver surround just violences out. There's probably broken clips everywhere. Alright, they're not broken, it's just they're just little clips that push onto some of these. They tend to pop off. I've only lost 2, that's alright. Alright, speedo. I hope you remember where this is going. Screwdriver up the bumhole. If you lower the steering wheel, you get a bit more room to get angry. Renault, this is not necessary. What do you think you're going to do? You think it's going to crash your car and it's going to explode into like 1,000 bits like a fucking clown car? I've got more plastic than Katie Price in the back here. Now, obviously, if you're doing this in an American car or a European car, everything's going to be round the other way. So if you watch this video in a mirror, it'll be exactly the same. Balance the hood off. I won't violence self. Right, now, if you've got the gauge pod, that'll have to come off as well. Obviously, the dashboard's got to come out. So bored. A one-way clip on these, and generally something breaks when you take it off. There's not really much you can do about it, because you can't really get to the other side of the clip to unclip it. I'll show you when I've broken it. That's right. Yeah, that clip there goes quite deep into the dashboard, And normally when you lever this panel off, this entire thing will come off. But again, it's got so many clips in it, it doesn't need that many clips. So I've disconnected the electrical connector, again, T20 I'm assuming. 2 bolts. Long bolts. Right, see now you've got 2 long bolts on this thing down, and this doesn't weigh very much, yet clipped as well. Because why wouldn't you? Why would you not clip it down as well as put 2 massive great fucking screws through it? Okay, that's it. Now when you put this onto the new dashboard, threading this back through, pain in the arse. More surrounds. Now underneath these little flaps, again, Torx 20. And this bit flaps out of the way. You can lift your speed off out of the way. Disconnect that. Don't break your windscreen. Right, that's got everything out of the way. I need a little breather. Right, I'm back. Lunch has been partaken of. Soup. I've lunched the cat. He's now happy. I've got my stupid headset on, so you can actually, there's a chance you can see what I'm doing. Probably not. Right, now on the front of the dashboard, is a little access panel. I need to unaccess this panel but not damage anything. Although to be honest, since we're changing the dashboard, it doesn't really matter. Well, I mean, look at the size of it. 6 clips. Rest my case. Now, in the front of this is an bolt, and the bolt is 10mm. Let me grab myself a little 10. Now, I shouldn't have to say this, but metal windscreen. Be very careful. Excessive. Right, that remind me, it's down there. All right, Torx again. Now, if you've got a left-hand drive car, you will not have this fold-down panel. You'll have these switches on the panel, but it's not fold-down. Now, the reason that the right-hand drive version is that, is because that's how we get to our fuses, instead of through the glove box, which are both terrible ideas. So that was the top one, going that way. I'll stick that with the rest of the short ones. and then probably forget to put it back. All right, now we've also got to take off the A-pillar covers, and on the side here there's a little cover that says the word airbag on it. Leave that out. Right, Torx 30. Little fat T30. I'm going to have to put that there. Just balance that sideways slightly. And it clips into the top of the dashboard. Yeah. Oh, that one comes off. These little tabs at the front are really quite long, and the when you try and replace them, they're actually a bit of a ball ache to get on. So on the last one, I actually cut them down halfway, so they still lock in, but they're just a little bit easier to get into position. And once you've performed the necessary violence to get the A-pillar covers off, there are more Torx 20 screws. And do yourself a favour, if you get magnetic ones, do that, because if you drop any of these, you're never going to see them again. Short. Get out. Same on the other side. Hidden little Torx 20 on the side. Oh my God, for fuck's sake, just do it, you bellend. Clear yourself a little path. On your passenger side, there are two 10mm bolts that hold into the brackets that hold the dash airbag. Nice and easy to get to. Okay, we're on a home stretch a little bit now. Just need to take out the central locking and hazard light buttons. I just pull out the bottom, disconnect. We're done with that. There it is. Another T20, back of the stereo. Sure. We're getting anywhere. Okay, hung up on that side somewhere. That was clipped into the side of the dashboard. That's not going to help. This lower part clips into the bottom of the dashboard as well. It's going to have to unclip. Hang on. Behind the heater controller, on the inside of this panel here, another two. Long and now missing. Right, finally loose. And you need to be able to get in behind the dashboard airbag, and there is a orange clip on a yellow plug. Now the orange clip needs to be levered. Not so easy from that angle. There you go. Got quite a lot of leeway on the electrical, on the wiring. It's just it gets hung up on stuff. And be careful you don't rip off your stalks. Right, there's a bit more room. Yeah, unfortunately, the passenger side one has actually melted. And that's a pain. That's not ideal. I'm going to find themselves a replacement plug. Otherwise, I can't put the dashboard back in. Yeah, the dash on the driver's side is screwed into that little bracket. On the passenger side, just slides into that little bracket there. Let's get this dash out of the way. We'll need to swap a few things over to the new dashboard. I'll need to send the other airbag back. Oh, the good news is the passenger knee airbag one is not melted. I'll show you. That's what it should look like. Not a big snotty lump of molten plastic. Now the only difference, obviously apart from the colour, the only difference is, see you've got the googly eyes and you've got the little quiff bit just above its eyes. On the other side, it's just on the other side of it. So if you get one that looks the same as that, you can actually cut that tiny little peg out there and it'll fit in all of them. But I do like to hand these things. So, just disconnect that. I mean, you can actually take the this knee airbag out without taking the dash apart. You just have to reach behind and remove all these bolts. It's a bit awkward, but it is possible. Okay, to free the driver's knee airbag, new one, T25. There are two there. Let's do those ones. Two on this side. And then three along the bottom. And there you go. That's the exploded knee airbag removed from the lower panel. And again, the lower panel has got a space for the ambient lighting. So I'm guessing in the wiring back here somewhere, there's going to be a connector for it. Yeah, there's one there. It's all tucked up, so it probably goes over the top for that one. that out of the way. So now the interesting thing about the knee airbag is this support section actually looks like it will be okay for both sides of the car. And if you look on the back here, you've got the two bolts that actually hold the gas generator in place. But then it's also the same, it's flipped on that side. And whereas the explosive section comes out there, you've also got a hole in that end. So it looks like you can actually take this out. Well, you can take out the broken one. If you wanted to, if you got one from a different country, you could actually install the new one in the other end, if it's the wrong side, obviously. So I imagine 10mm, if I can find my 10mm, 10mm. Now this bracket, if it's the other side and you are swapping it around, that bracket needs to be moved over that side and bolted in that way, because the peg for the gas generator will come through that side, and then that one will come through that side. Don't lose those. There you go. Slides out there. That's a little gas deflector that sits on there. So as the explosion comes out, it doesn't heat up the back of that and melt it. So it all sprays it all forwards. So that will definitely need to be put back on. And that's your gas generator. Do not refill, not that there's any chance you possibly could. But if you, it does actually say the bar on there, so, and it says the weight. So there's a good chance you'd be able to match this with something similar. You'd only have to get the right connector, the right spacing, and the correct length. And you'd easily be able to put a new one in there. So obviously, again, the actual bag is fine. Okay, we're going to have to rescue some parts off of this old dashboard. You don't need this surround ring thing, because that's already on there. You'll need that. That just covers the centre speaker if you've got one. Yes, and we will need all three of the vents. And ideally, so we're going to have to send this this airbag back. Use a little 10mm and take out the 4 nuts holding it to the dashboard. We'll use these 10mm nuts to put a new one back in. It's the old airbag. That'll get sent back to the airbag team, who done me a right favour and managed to send me one out. Because originally when I bought one, I was supposed to send this one back and they were going to repack it and send a new one out, or send out that one, but sort it out. But I did ask them if they had one they could send out in the meantime. Originally they didn't, but after 2 weeks of me not taking this out, they managed to find one and send me out. So it's good that they trusted me. So I want to get this packaged up and sent out probably today or tomorrow. Unfortunately, these are also a bit of a violence thing. Yeah, unfortunately, these metal clips do tend to bend, so you have to reset them slightly. Another thing worth noting is, make sure you know which one of these came from where. And try not to slip and gouge the plastic like I keep doing. It's only actually got one clip and then one plastic peg. So let's all that out. Right, and that should be all the parts we need. I'll put a bit of protection down because I don't want the new one getting scratched. You can hear by the sound. The reason you can't get them out without damaging them. And if you want to get these rings off, they are going to snap, because instead of clipping them on or putting them on with a little dab of glue, they decided to put super glue most of the way around those. So if you heat them up and flex them, sometimes you get them off, but generally they snap. So that's our new dashboard ready to go back in. Let's I need a little look around now, see if I can find an airbag connector. You can actually see this is the standard airbag that's gone off. You can see the shape of it. So got a bowl to it, and it's got the rounded corners. This is the rebuilt one, so it's obviously a different. It's got the different shape. That's totally flat. Same connector. You can tell the difference between the two. So it obviously has been rebuilt. So I'm going to try and get that number and see if I can find who makes that. Yeah, that's annoying. I've just gone through the entire wiring loom I've got for a 453. I think I suddenly remember pillaging the 2 airbag connectors for the last one that I rebuilt. That one there. And this one's on the road, but that one's not. Balls. To remove the dashboard in the 453, now originally in the 451 and the 450, let's try again. To remove the dashboard, fucking hell.